I'm choosing to hang out with people that like align with me and lift me up.
I think that's the most beautiful part about getting older. Because I agree with you. I feel like when I was younger, you care so much about so much stupid stuff, and it's so exhausting and time consuming, and you're spending time with people and doing things you don't even want to do. And then you get older and you're like, wait a second, I can just say no. And that's it. I'm content in my life with what I have and the people in it who love me no matter what. I think that's the coolest part about getting older, too.
Hi, I'm Alison and
And I'm Taylor.
And we're the hosts of the Anxiety Chicks podcast, where we dive deep into the reality of anxiety, nutrition, and mental health.
Listen as we explore all things anxiety healing while keeping it real, including our own struggles with mental health.
We'll bring our expertise as healing professionals to the conversation while discussing the tools and strategies you need to heal the anxious mind.
Listen to the Anxiety Chicks on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Anxiety Chicks podcast. I'm Alison and
And I'm Taylor.
And we're so excited to be back with you today on a whole new episode. How you doing, Taylor?
Good. Doing good. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm good. I'm getting ready for warm weather. It is, I don't know what it's like there, but in the East Coast, it's been like 75 one day and then 30 the next day. And I'm not really sure. And so I'm kind of annoyed, but it's fine.
It's definitely been spring here. My allergies have been horrible.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I feel like mine aren't there yet, probably because it's so cold here still. And it's not like things aren't really blooming yet. All in all, though, I feel really blessed and just looking forward to the summer, to be honest. So, but I will say that what's going to go into this episode and this topic today is, there's definitely things I'm looking forward to. And then there's more things that I feel like as I am getting another year older in July, that just reminds me of the amazingness that comes with aging. And I am saying that sarcastically, but I will say aging is a privilege. Okay. I will start by saying that. But, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that, people don't really warn you about and society doesn't really warn you about as you get older, especially for women, I will say. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey turning 45 this summer. That's just so weird to say. That's why I'm pausing, because does anyone else feel like, well, wait, let me just say, does anyone else feel like maybe you feel like this, or anyone watching or listening feel like maybe they're in their 30s or 40s or even 50s, 60s, but they still feel like they're 20 or like 25? Yeah. Maybe not in the same way of like physically, but in my mind, sometimes I still feel like I'm 21.
Yeah. No, I'm curious, like what do you feel like is the hardest like age change for you? Like when you turned 30, how did you feel versus when you turned 40, and how do you feel about 45?
Oh, this is a really good question. I think so far the biggest shift in my brain of kind of a switch went off that was so transparent and clear to me that I am aging was when I turned 40.
Okay.
And maybe it's because psychologically I'm like, wow, that's midlife. And I don't know. I mean, on average, maybe it is now, but people live different, whatever. For me, of course, with my health anxiety, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die in 40 years. I don't know, or who knows what's going to happen. But 40 was definitely, I was way more hypervigilant about me aging when I turned 40. When I turned 30, I talked about this the last couple episodes, I forget, but it's when I had that horrible panic attack, like horrible. So that was also a very pivotal moment in my life because it started my entire healing journey, even though it was such a scary moment for me. But when I turned 40, and honestly, the last couple years of my birthdays, obviously that was during COVID and stuff. And so
yeah,
2020 was when I turned 40. And so it was COVID, but the last, 5 years, I think about my birthdays and it just definitely was not bad. I've been really trying to say I'm really, really grateful for aging because it really is a privilege, right? There's some people that aren't able to even get to this age. So I feel really, really blessed. But I've never been more aware that I'm aging and that I'm not 21. So in my brain, there's moments where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm 21. Like, remember these moments? And like, I want to go do this fun stuff. Like, I'm saying yes to a lot of things more. You know what I mean? But even then, I just think, wow, okay, I'm feeling this ache, or this is why I don't stay up past this time. Like, I can feel it much more in my body.
So you felt it more when you turned 40.
Yeah.
So, but how's your mindset about turning 40 versus 45?
Yeah. So I honestly, it's so crazy. I feel like I turned 40 a week ago. Everything
I was literally thinking the same thing. I remember when you turned 40.
So, I mean, this is another thing. Things have been moving so fast in life.
Yeah.
So much faster in life since I kind of went over the hill. And so I think there's just a lot more people as you get to your 40s that are, you're kind of settling down. You're settling down, whether you're with a parent or you're not, or you're single or you're married or you're not. People are still settled down. People have their children, they're going to certain sports games, they're involved in certain community activities. I enjoy waking up earlier. I enjoy feeling really energized. I'm learning more about my body as a woman. Okay. All of those things. And so, I think there's so much more that comes to my mind too physically. That's just more about like my own, I think, internal battle with my self-esteem and the external validation that I need about when it comes to looks and all of that. That's been very hard for me. But I think society, I mean, this is kind of one of the talking points I wanted to get into, was when no one like kind of warns us about is how, it's so much clearer about how society just glorifies youth and really rarely shows the beauty of aging with grace. They just glorify it. I mean, you think about as a single 40-year-old, I think about all the guys that I'm talking to on Hinge or Bumble, and I still have this little voice in my head when I'm thinking about going on dates or talking to someone that's thinking like, now, why aren't they going after like a girl in their 20s? Or like, why aren't they going after a girl in their 30s? Like, it's so placed in my brain that, okay, well, older men just go out with younger women all the time. Like, that's just what happens. Right. And in society,
That's so true.
Men are revered. As they get older, they're more distinguished, and they're like, they just, they're just more distinguished, and they're with these young little hot things. So as a woman, thinking about youth and how it's glorified in that sense, especially as someone who's single in her 40s, that messes with your mind sometimes. It really does.
I could really see that. I do feel like we're in a very weird, and I feel like it's been this way maybe for a little bit, but just the older men, 50, it's like normalized. It's weird. Like a 50-year-old and a 25-year-old, you're just like, but then like you never see, I mean, sometimes you do, but you never really see like you're not going to be interested in a 25-year-old man.
Well, I mean, honestly, for anyone watching or listening who's in that relationship, more power to you. But I honestly have no idea what I would have in common with a 25-year-old man.
Like I feel like for women, it's like, what would I go talk to? Like even for me, and I'm 30, I don't even like a 21-year-old man. Like I think about that, I'm like, what would we talk? I feel so much older than you. It's creepy. Like I feel like it's okay. I don't know. It feels like fine, I guess, for like an older guy with a younger girl. But for me, if I think of some people I play pickleball with who are 21, these like boys, and I'm like, I would literally feel odd. Like I couldn't imagine being with a young man. I don't know. Like weirds me out. Like I'm their mommy.
Babies.
Yeah.
100%. And that's actually why I think it's so interesting. Not only do I feel like I would have nothing in common with this person. I mean, honestly, I don't even know, because they're a whole different generation. They have like a different language. even know how to talk to them. You know what I mean? But like they also, to me, in my mind, I have like cousins that I grew up with that age. Like my nephew is 15. He's only like 10 years younger than no. Like they are babies in my brain. I can't even imagine feeling any type of like romantic or sexual
Yeah.
like feeling towards
Like you're like, I could have birthed you. Like that's weird.
oh my
If I can
gosh, I
birth
just
you, like no.
yes, and I don't know. I can, yeah, my brain will not go there.
So I do feel it's hard for women. I would say like the older men, they have like all this time, they can have a kid when they're 50, they can have a kid when they're 60, they can meet a 20-year-old, you know, like one of my parents' neighbors, he had his first kid at 58 and she was 31. And I'm just like, God, women can't do that. Like we really are on a timeline, and that's a lot of stress for women as they get older. And then on top of that, they go, hey, here's something called perimenopause. You're going to be weird in your body. You're going to be weird in your body. And you're going to, older men are going to go for the younger women, and they're going to say, hey, you have to look like them too. You need to go get filler. You need to go get Botox. You need to go get your liposuction in your neck done. You need to do all these things. It's sick. Oh, and by the way, be an independent woman, make your own money too.
100%. I mean, totally. If you think about it, you know, we're just like aging gracefully, right? Is really when we're all told to age gracefully, they're talking to women, not men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Men can literally get bellies and gross and be like a pimp daddy.
Right. I mean, like honestly,
dad bod.
Dad bod.
It's like cool.
Yeah, dad bod. I mean, honestly. And so we're told this kind of like age gracefully, but we're not really taught how to emotionally cope with the whole process of it. So there's so much, I feel like, underlying competition that we have, first of all, within ourselves, but also with other women as we get older, not because we care about what men think about us. It's because we care about what the other women look like. Like we are in competition with the other women, not because we want a man to look at us. And that just comes from a deep rooted insecurity that we all have. We all have because of how society glorifies men and how society glorifies youth, right? Glorifies men as they get older and women in their youth. And so there's kind of this fear around really like you're losing time. You're losing like, what's your identity, right? As you get older, you're not as strong as you used to be, like physically. Right. So, so many of my friends and so many people I know now, you know, we're all talking about going to different doctor's appointments. You know, we want to make sure, you know, there's people have certain back issues, and there's different ailments like chronic illnesses and different ailments like with their legs and stuff. And learning how to be physically strong, your bone density decreases as you get older. Right. And then as you kind of work through these years, you either have kids that were really little and that was your identity for a while to raise your kids, and they get more independent. So now you're a little more like, wow, okay. So, and maybe you work or you don't, I mean, you have a job or you don't have a job, but you start thinking, okay, now they're getting a little older. So what's next? And then if you don't have kids, you're just like, okay, but still like, what's next? You know, there's always, I feel like this pressure of like, what's next, especially for women. And so when you think about aging, society has these messages for us, but then like even culturally, there's messages to us that are linked with like self-worth. And so what's our self-worth? It's linked to our appearance. It's like linked to like our productivity. It's linked to our fertility, right? This is where so many of women get their self-worth, is how do we look? We want to get that affirmation from other women and other people. We like want to make sure we're being productive and, you know, we're busy. We want to make sure, you know, fertility is a huge thing. I mean, even for people that don't want to have children, fertility is just still an issue because people keep asking, why do you want to have kids or you don't want to have kids? What do you think? Do you think why do I even need to talk about it?
Yeah. No. And another thing that you said, they say age gracefully, and then it's like, but not too much, because get Botox, get filler. Do you see the other women? Oh, she looks like velvet. It's like, oh, she has wrinkles? Like normal wrinkles, like it's insane to me that like wrinkles aren't normal anymore. It's like, oh, like she looks really old. I remember my friend was like, that lady looks really old. And I'm like, I really don't think she does. I think she actually looks like a normal 50-year-old woman. We're just not used to that anymore.
100%, which is, again, aging is a privilege. It's a privilege. And I think that, like, this is something I'm glad we're talking about, because I don't think that it's talked about as much yet. It's really not talked about enough yet. And
it's talked about in a weird way because it's like, I don't know if you've been keeping up with that, like Remy Bader, that whole thing, that the girl who was, she, I guess, come to find out, she was I've seen her face a lot. She was a body positive influencer, right?
yes,
She
okay.
she got surgery done. Didn't tell anybody she got surgery done, like weight loss surgery, like a pretty intense one too. Got that surgery done, kind of ignored all her followers in the comments, like for a very long time. Gets a slot on Khloe Kardashian's podcast, tells everybody about this surgery that she got. And everybody's like, okay, so wait, you're saying being your body type and owning yourself is beautiful, right? But then you go get this surgery, you tell nobody you got this surgery done, you just look like that. And now you're like doing totally other content. It's weird. It's like you used people to relate to you and get you famous, and then you got famous, and now you're saying, hey, you guys be body positive, you guys love yourself, but I'm gonna go get surgery. Which, like, it's totally fine to lose weight. Like, it's totally fine to, like, want to get healthy if you don't feel like you're healthy or you don't feel good about yourself. But, like, own it. Like, don't say, hey, everybody, like, be happy in your skin, and then you change yourself. What are you doing to women who followed you and felt like, wow, you created this whole movement? I think she was, like, one of the biggest ones for the body positive movement, too. So you created this whole movement to make women feel good about themselves and accept who they are. And then you changed everything about that in yourself. What does that message say?
So that's so interesting, though, because can't that still be the message, even though she's not big?
But it's almost like, so I saw a few like people who followed her.
I'm curious. This is interesting.
I really dug down it because I was very interested in it, because people were also pissed. They were like, oh, you get a Khloe Kardashian special and then you let everybody know. So I think it's been like months and months. Like she never,
interesting.
Like it's one thing if you're like transparent and you're like, hey guys, I don't feel good. I feel like really weighed down. I want to lose weight. Maybe she wanted to get healthy, like internally, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's totally one thing if you like own that, but it's like she did this thing, told no one nothing, and then just was like thin, and like then you get a Khloe Kardashian special and you say it. So I think that's where people were upset. And then people said that she didn't even like explain why she got the surgery. So it's like, were you not actually happy? And that it put all these questions in people's heads who were big followers of her. And it just makes it like, is it beautiful? Like, did you not feel beautiful about yourself? I don't know.
Well, it also seems like it's not as relatable as it used to be.
Yeah.
That maybe she's not as relatable. And that's what people love these days, is people that are relatable and actually are authentically themselves. So maybe there's also people that are not happy that she wasn't really authentic about the whole process. Yeah, and so that's really what this comes down to, right? When you think about aging, I don't even want to say aging gracefully, because it's just aging, right? As we age, being normal. Authentic about it. Being authentic about it. If you want to go and get like a facelift, or go and like get whatever surgery you want, if you want to get some Botox, I actually got my Botox today and I love my woman. You want to get some fill, whatever you want to do, all of that stuff's external stuff actually too, right? If you want to do that, great. But please continuously work on the inner parts of you too. Yeah. I am continuously always working on the inner parts of me. There are little different tweaks that I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll try this. I don't think I'd ever do elective surgery because I'm just like so scared shitless of it. So like probably not. But you know, there's a lot internally that I'm really trying to work on with acceptance. We're going to do a whole episode on acceptance at some point, but the acceptance of things that I can't control. What am I going to do? Stop time?
Yeah.
I'm aging. I'm not stopping time. I'm aging. And again, that is a privilege. I might not be here in 10 hours or 10 years. I don't know. It's a privilege to be alive and to be breathing and to also be able to do what I do, which I love. Love a job that I do. And why am I going to just focus on all of these things that I think are going to quote unquote make me feel better about myself, right? As I age.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like keep that in perspective as far as like the external parts of me go. But I think that there's also sort of like this grief around, like this really deep grief around unmet expectations. So like I have grieved a lot of a life that I thought I would have by now. I go through that a lot and in different times of my days. I'm not in a depression spiral or anything, but there are days when I feel really lonely and I'm really in this grief state of where I thought I'd be at 45. I mean, I didn't really think so much into the future about this part of my life when it comes to like marriage and kids as much as other people, I think. Because that just wasn't at the forefront of my mind. I think I grieve that part of it. But like, if you told me 10 years ago I'd be where I am in my career now, I would have never thought that either. And I'm amazed and so like proud of myself for that piece of life, that I've come at 45. So then I grieve, I don't own a house yet, but that's also me comparing myself to other people. Why? Why does it matter? I have a
Yeah.
really great savings. Like I don't, why does that matter? But there's still this grief about this life that I think I had just expected myself to have by now. And I think that really, really wears on some women, especially because they get the pressure from people.
You feel the timeline more than a man who's turning 40.
100%. And that's biological too, though, for women. I mean, we actually do have a biological clock.
Yeah.
Like we're the ones that hold babies. Like
you froze your eggs though, right?
I did. I froze my eggs about 10 years ago at this point. So I have them. I do.
Yeah.
My balance just came in the mail that I have to go pay my little eggs. But yes,
Like you
there.
can literally have a surrogate or you can carry. I don't know if there's a cutoff for you carrying. Is there a risk of you carrying?
I mean, there's definitely risks to carry it as you get older for sure.
Yeah.
But you're right. I could have a surrogate.
There's so many. That's another thing is like there's so many amazing. I think a lot of women feel anxiety about getting older. And I think we also need to normalize like, hey, it's okay if your timeline looks a little different. Men have kids later on in life too. You can literally have a kid at, say you meet someone next year and in 2 years y'all decide to have a kid. Thank God you got those eggs frozen, right? You have the option of saying, hey, you know what? And I worked my butt off. I made a career for myself. I have the money to have a surrogacy and I can still have a kid that is mine.
Totally. Well, and here's the other thing though, right? Like that is an option in my brain. I'm aging, but that could be an option, right? The option goes less and less as I do get older. I mean, how much energy do I have to have a baby when I'm 48? Like, I don't know if I even want to do that. Takes a lot of energy. But at the same time, nothing is guaranteed. So even though I have some eggs, they're not guaranteed to work, right? Yeah. So nothing is really guaranteed. And I think that's just part of the anxiety around all of this, because we always talk about how anxiety has to do with unpredictability and the lack of control we have over the future and feeling things are so unpredictable. And how do we sit with that? How do we accept that life is unpredictable? Right. And so when it comes to the days where I feel this like heavy grief because of, how my life is different and I'm kind of like grieving the expectations, I move through that. And I think about all the things I just said and about how blessed I am for the life that I do have and what an amazing support system and how I could meet someone tomorrow and that could be the love of my life. Right. Literally. And I am very, very grateful because I have a niece and a nephew who I feel like are children of my own. I love them so much. I will 1000%, if they end up having children, I will be a huge part of their children's lives for sure. I'll help them if they decide to have kids. And if not, I have so many friends that, that are still having babies too. And I'm a big part of their babies' lives. So I really try and look at it from that perspective, but it's okay to have those days when you feel like you're grieving some of the life that you don't have that you thought you would. Right.
Yeah.
And, another thing that I think that maybe you're starting to see a little bit, but still as you move through your 30s, you'll see a little bit more. But it's this sort of like silent panic of watching your parents age
Mm-hmm.
and how they're like becoming the older generation,
Mm-hmm.
and how you're starting to learn like the tables are turning with they're sort of starting to be more like childlike, and you're starting to be more of this role of like a caregiver and a parent to them. And it is such a weird dichotomy in your brain of like, okay, but when I feel sick, I still want my mom. But she's
Mm-hmm.
also not like my mommy anymore. Like I actually need to help her when she's sick, but I still like need her to like protect me or feel or like be quote unquote strong for me because I'm scared when I'm sick. But also she's not that's not the same. Even though she's physically there, she can't protect me in that way anymore because I need to actually help her in that aspect. It is just so it's so hard to navigate through that with the caregiver role. And I think that a lot of people, men and women, over, when you, I guess, turn in their 35, 40s, in the 40s, you really start seeing your parents age. And it's just a mind F. You have friends that start having their parents die. I mean, my dad passed away, and I have a whole bunch of girlfriends that actually, what's interesting is I have about 5 girlfriends that have all had their dads pass away. And so we're all very close. The life expectancy for women is a bit longer than men, but it's just so interesting. So we bond together because we both feel that grief too. So, you know,
I
it's
do
just a
have to I do
reality.
have to say, and I don't know if I tell you this enough. I think back to an episode we had once, and I can't remember, it was when your dad was still here. And I remember you and me, we were both talking and agreeing on like, which I haven't lost a parent, but you have. We were both like, I don't see a life or like what life could possibly be like. Like we couldn't grasp the thought of losing a parent and like that it would literally it wouldn't be okay, like at all. Like it wouldn't be okay at all. And I have seen you move with so much grace and so much kindness for yourself and like honestly do amazing. Like you have almost made it okay for me to one day lose my parent,
Oh my
if that
God.
makes sense. Like I
Thank
see you have your
you.
moments, which is normal, but
Yeah.
I've seen you continue life. And I
Yeah.
don't know what I was expecting or what I imagined, but I think you don't know how strong you are until you do go through something like this. But like
Mhm.
you continued your life. You held your head up. You said, this is what needs to be done. This is the life I've created. I will forever miss my dad, but you're functioning and it's been because I think you and I feel the same about our parents. Like we our parents are our world, best friends, like we love them. And so it not like it was a good thing, but it really opened my eyes as almost like you as a mentor in that aspect of you're okay. Like in the retrospect of things, you're
Yeah.
okay and you have your days and that's normal, but
Mm.
life went on.
I mean, honestly, that just it really makes me feel very, I don't even know what the word is. It just makes my heart kind of feel really open to sharing more about this
Yeah.
this experience because that's what it's all for, right?
I
I
mean,
want
truly,
other
you felt the
people.
same. You felt like
Yeah.
I remember us talking about it. You
Okay.
were like, I just like don't even want to like think of the thoughts. I
Mhm.
think we both said that. I think it was maybe in the episode about like accepting death or something, death anxiety. We just talked about our parents and we were like, that will be something like, we don't want to look at or even think
Yeah.
about. And then it just kind of happened and it happened pretty fast for you. I remember it was like he fell and then it got worse and then it was pretty quick. And I feel like watching you through it, I was almost like, okay, she's gonna maybe say like, hey, I need to stop the podcast, or like
Mm.
I'll see her like drift away, and you didn't, and you held with strength, and like you had hard times, yeah, like you weren't okay for a second, but you showed me that I can be strong. And anybody who's listening to this and maybe you're thinking, I can't imagine a day where I don't have my parents. Like I don't think I'll be able to function. I don't think I'll be able to continue life. It'll be over.
Yeah.
Maybe listen more to Allison's story because it's definitely helped me.
I'm so glad. That makes me so happy to hear that I can have that effect on not just you, but help other people feel kind of less alone in that fear, because it was a really huge fear of mine for my entire life up until I had a really horrible, like, depressive episode and, you know, connected it back to this huge fear of being basically saying to myself, like, who's going to take care of me?
Yeah.
Who's going to take care of me?
Because mom and dad always listen to you.
Mom and dad take care of me. And even when I meet a husband and I meet like a man, maybe we won't be whatever, they still won't take care of you like your mom and dad will take care of you.
Yes.
It's still not the same relationship. So like I think it took a lot of years, and you know my mom is so vibrant and she's amazing, but you know that's not going to be much, you know, maybe 10 years, maybe 50, who cares? I don't know, but at one day we're all going to die. I mean, that sounds morbid, but people you love are not going to be here. And yes, there's ways to prepare, like emotionally, to understand understand the reality of that happening, especially as you age, because as your parents get older, your own like battle with your own mortality becomes palpable. So as my dad was getting sick and I saw him literally become a different person, not by choice, right? He wasn't himself anymore. That makes you, as you age, start recognizing, okay, wow, I am not immortal. Like I am going to be older one day. I'm going to have to get through some of these tough moments one day also. And that's scary. That is really more scary for me, and what I'm working through now with my therapist to make sure I'm set up later in life for certain ways that I can take care of myself if I have to. I don't know, but if I have to, okay. But I really appreciate you saying that. And I think that, to be honest, this podcast and my platform has literally helped me through those moments. Being able to share my story and being able to have conversations with you and conversations with my healers and be part of support groups and talk about grief is literally what got me through so many moments like that. So I think as we talk about grief, our own, like who we lose, but also the grief of our lives and aging, I'm almost like also grieving my 20s and 30s, because I will tell you, like, your 20s and 30s, um there's just so much more excitement as far as, you know, sometimes kids are littler, right? And there's just a lot of energy. There's almost like a lot more energy when you're in your 20s and 30s. 20s, of course, a lot of people are single. You're like going out a lot. No one really has kids. And you're like, yay, whatever. What's next? There's so much of your life that's like, what's next? Right?
Yeah.
That in your 30s, it's like, okay, we might have kids and stuff, but it's still like, what's next? Like, they're still little. Are you going to have another kid? Like, even people that don't have kids, oh, like, did you meet anyone? Like, oh, are you going to travel here? You have so much energy to go do a bunch of different things. You're not really set in your ways yet. And then honestly, as you turn 40, you get in your 40s, a lot of people are set in their ways. Just a lot of set in their ways. And that's what makes dating kind of hard at this age.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's like power in that. It's actually really nice, because guess what also happens at 40? You start literally giving it no shits about what anyone thinks.
You know what you want. You know exactly
Like,
what you want. Because I bet you're also seeing a lot
I,
of divorces at this age.
my gosh, you sure am. And not even divorces, but marriages that will be divorced 100%. I know in my brain, I'm like, they will not last. Like, not to be, you know, morbid, but like,
No,
I
I
just
know
know
what you
it
mean. I
won't.
feel like 40, like something happens. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but it seems like it's like, okay, they're not going to stay together.
Totally. So like I see all this stuff happening, and that actually seeing that stuff makes me feel so confident about my choices when it comes to kids and being single at this point, because if I met someone, even when I was 30 or in like my early 30s, I would be divorced by now. I'm such a different person that there's no way I should have actually met anyone at that age.
Yeah.
You know? So I am proud of myself for that. But you know, I still have these internal battles with myself, that this inner critic comes out. But deep down, I really start not caring about what other people think. I'm saying no a lot more. I'm doing what I feel like, I'm listening to my body a lot more. I'm, committing to things that I want to commit to and saying no to things that I don't feel like doing. And if people have an opinion about me and they want to have a reaction towards that, they're not my people. I'm not hanging out with them a lot. I'm choosing to hang out with people that like align with me and lift me up.
I think that's the most beautiful part about getting older. Cause I agree with you. It's like, and I'm definitely like ahead of my years, but I feel like when I was younger, you care so much about so much stupid stuff. And it's so exhausting and time consuming. And you're spending time with people and doing things you don't even want to do. And then you get older and you're like, wait a second, I can just say no. And that's it. And if you have a problem with me saying no or me canceling or me being me, you're not my friend. I don't really need you. I'm content in my life with what I have and the people in it who love me no matter what. I think that's the coolest part about getting older too. And I think that going back to kind of what I said about like you and your dad, it's like these stories and these examples are to me the most helpful thing about getting older and the inevitable of people passing, things happening. It's seeing people on the other side of things, seeing you're someone who hasn't been married yet, but you're also friends with someone who is married with kids who's probably getting divorced this year. And both battles are tough. Like there's pros and cons to both sides. Like you might meet the love of your life who you're going to spend the next 50 years with next week. Whereas somebody's coming out of such a severe divorce, they have all these kids, they think they're unlovable now because they had kids. I've met people, I have friends who are married and they're like, I have 4 or 5 kids now. What man's going to want to love me? I'm a little dumpster truck now, blown out. Like that's literally what one of my friends said. She's like, I literally can't get divorced because I'm who wants 5 kids? Like she literally says that, and I'm like that's another thing. A man might not want that. That's very valid. Like she's not wrong. And so I think that you really do have to look at those things. Like you have to look. There's pros and cons to every thing in this life. Justin Bieber being so freaking famous. He has so much money, all the fame. People love him, but he's crashing out on Instagram. I don't know what's happening. He doesn't seem mentally well. Is he happy? We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no. There's pros and cons to everything. Like that's the thing we have to look at. There's pros to getting older. There's cons to getting older. There's pros to being, I remember being 16 and all I wanted to, or 15 and all I wanted to do was be 16. And then all I wanted to do was be 18. And then all I wanted to do was be 21. And then all I wanted to do was to get married. And then like that isn't even a fun life, always chasing the next thing. Sometimes there's pros in just being like, hey, I'm in a place in my life where like I'm actually happy. I'm set in my own ways. If somebody comes into my life who's meant to be in my life, so be it. If not, so be it. Like there's so many ways to look at life, but I think what you said is the most beautiful thing is age is a privilege, and where we're at right now in this setting is a privilege. Alison and I have the privilege to move our bodies. We are full functioning arms and legs, and we're not in a hospital bed. And for that, I'm thankful. For that, I can turn 30 and be okay. Because, when I did hit 30, I was like, oh, we are entering a new stage of life. And then I'm hanging out with Alison, who's like, hey, 40 was tough. Hey, I'm turning 45. And I'm like, wait, but I look at you and I see so many beautiful things in your life that I'm kind of like, it's kind of cool how you have like a lot of like you time, whereas I'm married and I don't have as much you time as you do. And so there's just, I think everybody envies everybody in some way.
Yes. I love that. And I'm so glad you actually kind of are wrapping this episode up with that perspective, because you really just need to find the best version of yourself every day and recognize that you being on this earth is a privilege every day. So let's try and focus on what are some of the amazing things about you and about your life, and how can you train your brain to focus more on those things and find more joy in your days to feel more content and fulfilled in your life, right? You have to remember too, it's not about waking up and just being happy all day, every day, right? Happiness is fluid. All feelings are fluid. You're not going to feel happy every single day, but do you feel, even in those moments when I feel that grief and when I feel the loneliness, I'm still so content with my life. And I feel very fulfilled with my life, even if my emotions for, 20 minutes are lonely and I'm crying, or I'm grieving, I miss my dad, I still feel really grounded and content with where I am in my life. And I feel very blessed because aging is a privilege. So we'll wrap this up. I hope this episode was helpful for you all. I, of course, don't want to leave without telling you a little bit about my healing tip of the week. And this one is a doozy, okay? But is actually, I think, going to be really helpful for anyone who resonated with this. So I want you to start sort of like creating a relationship with your future self. So instead of kind of looking in the future and fearing the version of you that's like 5 years from now or 10 years from now or 20 years from now, instead of fearing that version of you, what if you try and befriended that version of you? Maybe you kind of think about yourself in 10 years. Could you write yourself a letter? Right? Like ask that version of you what that version of you knows that you don't, right? Maybe they're a little wiser. Maybe you want to visualize this person as a more calming person, right? Maybe there's a more grounded energy to this person. Maybe you let this future version of you guide you and you ask this future version kind of to help you through some of these hard moments right now, right? So this could turn maybe aging from dread into something that you can grow towards and actually look forward to, right? So creating this relationship with your future self can be really, really healing. And I would highly suggest maybe writing a letter to your future self and also writing a letter back to yourself from your future self. It's kind of a really cool exercise to see the differences of, think about the age you want to write 10 years from now. What would you write to that person? And then write yourself back from that perspective.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely take that and go do it and remind yourself age is a privilege.
100%. Aging is a privilege. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and review, leave a review, all that fun stuff. But we'll be back next week. Love you guys so much. Happy healing. Bye.